Good morning, Elm! How are you all doing? Good? Great! We are here with you today to remind you that there is good in the world. That is all that we're going to be doing today. That's everything. And I could not be more excited to do so.
Yes, this is going to be a wonderful time full of positivity and happiness. Good morning, Elm family. I can't wait to get started. I'm Mr. Nicolo.
And I am Mr. Franchella, and we are here to say good morning, Elm!
Mr. Franchella, you know, there's been a lot of talk in the news lately of scary stuff going on in the country. This year has been really hard.
Yeah, Mr. Nicolo, I completely agree with you. This year really has been hard. There has been a pandemic that has made a lot of people sick, people protesting in the streets for a lot of different reasons. It seems like every time that I look on the news, I see sadness or anger.
You are so right, Mr. Franchella. This year brought a lot of challenges to our country. But you know what? I think it'd be super cool if we focus on the good news that is going on around the country right now. Right?
Wait, what? That is such an awesome idea, Mr. Nicolo. I love it. There are so many super cool things that are happening in the world right now. Let's tell our friends about some of them. So, have you heard any awesome things going on right now that we can share?
I definitely have, Mr. Franchella. Our country, our world, is such a positive place that sometimes we forget.
I could not agree with you more, Mr. Nicolo. Our country is such a positive place, and so is our world. So I would love to focus on one specific theme each time that we meet about good news with all of our friends. So let's talk today about one of my favorite people ever, Mr. Rogers. So he was a children's TV show host who made such a wonderful TV program when you and we were younger. So he once said, "When I was a boy and I would see scary things in the news, my mother would say to me, look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping." So today's theme, Mr. Nicolo, for Good Morning Elm is look for the helpers.
Oh man, Mr. Franchella, that is such an amazing theme for today's Good Morning Elm broadcast. There are so many helpers in our country and in our world who are doing amazing things to clean messes up and make people feel safe and, most importantly, love one another.
I agree.
I can imagine you've heard the sad events that happened in Washington, D.C. on January 6th.
Yeah, I did hear about that, Mr. Nicolo. It was certainly a hard day for this whole country.
But you know what? I'd like to report that there were so many helpful people that came forward afterwards.
Oh, wow.
House of Representatives Andy Kim, who is a Democrat and from New Jersey, stayed behind at midnight, so like when it's really dark on January 6th, to clean up the mess inside the Capitol.
Whoa! What was he doing there to help?
Well, Representative Kim found that there was garbage and debris all over the place, and that made him feel sad. So, Mr. Kim said to the news sources, "It really broke my heart that I felt compelled to do something. It's a room that I love so much. It's the heart of the Capitol. Literally, it's the heart of the country. It pained me so much to see that it is in this condition." And he stopped and helped the cleaning process. He's such an amazing helper.
Oh my gosh, I completely agree. That is surely something and someone who is working to help our country. Thank you so much to Representative Andy Kim for helping to clean up the Capitol after the events of January 6th. What a fantastic helper. So, my sources have just informed me of another amazing helper that we should talk about. Do you want to hear about it, Mr. Nicolo?
I sure do.
Oh, excellent. So, Arizona woman Caroline Palish, she was waking up as any other day on New Year's Day. That's January 1st of this past year, a couple of weeks ago. She was making breakfast when she smelled smoke.
Oh
She
no.
went outside to learn that something was wrong in her neighbor's house. So let's watch the video of how this helper became a hero.
A woman is desperately trying to wake up her neighbors.
Get up!
It's 7:30 a.m. and their house is on fire.
Wake up!
You can see the flames sparking as she approaches the house in Avondale, Arizona. The neighbor relentlessly pounds on the door as smoke billows behind her.
Your house on fire. Get out. Move.
Look as one by one, she gets the whole family out safely. And here is the hero neighbor from next door, Carol Palish.
I thought I saw a flicker and then I thought, oh, I'm just imagining things. And then my husband had just gotten up and I said, I smell smoke. That doesn't look right.
Knowing there were 4 young children in the home, she sprinted into action.
You never said the word fire. Why?
Because I knew if I said the word fire, the children might panic. And they were obviously all asleep in bed. And so that was just my first thought. I'm a nurse and we're taught to try and stay calm. And the last thing I wanted was the kids to be scared.
Nicole Salgado says she and her husband and their kids were sound asleep when the fire broke out in their attic. They woke up only after Carol made all that noise.
My husband and I heard the banging and we shot out of bed. When we got out of bed, there was no smoke anywhere, so there was no indication that there was a fire.
Within minutes of their escape, the roof caved in. All of their possessions gone, including their car. But Nicole knows what really matters is that her family is safe. All thanks to the neighbor who came pounding on their door.
Before we were just neighbors in passing, but that'll definitely change. Now she's going to be family.
I don't feel like a hero. I just feel like a good neighbor that did the right thing.
Wake up! Owners of the home said, my husband and 4 kids, we were dead asleep, woken up to a banging on the door. It sounded like the police. The firefighters told us that it would, if only had been 5 minutes later, then the roof would have came down on us. Oh no.
Oh no, what a harrowing story. Neighbors are such important people in our life. Thank you so much to people like Carolyn Palish for helping her neighbors escape to safety during that fire.
She truly is an amazing helper, Mr. Nicolo, truly.
So helpers are a huge part of our lives, and they make our lives better each and every day. And this year has truly been different, and it's been a different experience, especially with the pandemic.
Oh yeah.
Well, one mother, Monique Jones of Ferguson, Missouri, had given birth to her new baby earlier than expected on September 23rd of last year. But the problem was she had just been diagnosed with COVID-19.
Oh no. That sure is a dangerous experience, Mr. Nicolo. I wonder how helpers assisted her in that frightening time.
Well, giving birth to a baby 9 months before it was born, that baby was born, is always risky, Mr. Franchella. But while having COVID-19, that makes it a little more dangerous. Miss Jones gave a successful birth to her baby beautiful girl named Zamira, who arrived on September 23rd, weighing at just 2 pounds and 5 ounces. I'm happy to report that mom and baby are said to be in excellent condition.
Oh yes.
That's right. But Miss Jones could not have done it alone though.
Totally.
The nurses, the doctors helped so much and with so much love and hard work that she named Zamira's godmother as one of her nurses, Caitlin Obrock.
Oh my gosh, that is so special. Thank you so much to Caitlin Obrock and all of the first responders, the nurses, the doctors, the frontline workers who all have helped during this pandemic. Wow, we truly could not be doing what we're doing without these amazing helpers.
That is certainly true, Mr. Franchella. I am so glad to hear that Mrs. Jones and her baby Zamira are happy and healthy right now. Well, helpers come in all shapes and sizes and different kinds of uniforms, especially during this time of in our world.
I completely agree, Mr. Nicolo. There are so many helpers who make our world function during this tough time, over the last year especially. So I have another awesome story for you as well, Mr. Nicolo.
You know what? Lay it on me, man. Let me know. I love hearing good news about helpers.
Okay, so President-elect Biden has a beautiful rescue dog, Major, who him and his wife, Dr. Jill Biden, they adopted a couple years ago. He is so cute. Take a look at this picture.
Aw, so cute.
So cute. To raise money for other dogs who are in similar shelters waiting for their forever homes, the Biden family is going to hold an inauguration
Get
fundraiser.
it? Inauguration.
It is a play on words in reference to the inauguration, which is an event that happens several months after a United States president is elected in a fair election to get sworn in as the leader of our country. So the inauguration will be held with the Delaware Humane Association on January 17th, just 3 days before the actual inauguration. And it will help tons of pets in need. So for any of our friends in our Elm community who would like to donate to a pet in need, we are going to provide you with the link here.
Right. Where am I pointing to? This way? That way? Yeah, it's somewhere here. Yep.
So, okay, yeah, the link's going to be somewhere. Okay, the link's going to be somewhere.
But you know what, Mr. Franchella? That is certainly going to be a barking good time on January 7th. Get it? Barking? Dude, I love dogs so much.
I get it.
Yeah. And thank you to Mr. President Joe Biden and his wife, Dr. Jill Biden, for their efforts with dogs and other animals. You know, Mr. Franchella, talking about our fairly elected President-elect Joe Biden makes me think of one last good news story that I'm super excited about.
Oh my gosh, what is it, Mr. Nicole? There is so much to be excited and optimistic about in regards to the efforts of the Biden administration coming in.
Mm-hmm. Well, I am thankful to Mr. President-elect Joe Biden as he comes into office, but my positive story is not about him.
Oh.
His fairly elected Vice President, Senator Kamala Harris.
Oh, cool. You know, I've heard about her. She seems like a wonderful person with amazing qualifications to help lead our country. What did you want to mention about her?
Well, I don't know if you know this, but Senator Kamala Harris will be setting 2 huge records on January 20th when she is inaugurated along with President-elect Joe Biden. She will be the first woman to ever be inaugurated into the executive branch and the first woman of color ever to be inaugurated into the executive branch. That is some amazing progressive steps in the history of our country, and I'm glad I get to see it.
Oh my gosh, that is so super cool. But, you know, wait though, I do have 2 questions. What is the executive branch that you were talking about? And also, what is a person of color? You know, I'm sorry for asking, but I've always heard that it's better to ask questions with an open mind when you're wondering something.
Well, that's a great question. It's not a problem. The executive branch is part of a system helping the United States government, which includes the president, the vice president, and many other people who will help them, called the cabinet.
Oh, I've heard of that. Okay, cool.
Yep. So we have 3 branches of government. One is the executive branch. The other is the federal branch, which is our senators and the House of Representatives. And those are the people who write the laws for this country. And last, there's the Supreme Court. They help us determine what is fair and what is not fair.
Cool.
As to your second question, a person of color. Well, that is anyone who is not white.
Okay.
For example, President Barack Obama was the first person of color to ever be elected as president of the United States. And now, Senator Kamala Harris will be both the first woman ever and the first woman of color to hold the vice president position in the history of the United States.
That's so exciting.
Which, I gotta ask you, are you gonna go to the inauguration, Mr. Franchella?
I certainly am going to watch the inauguration, Mr. Nicolo. It is going to be a momentous occasion. It's going to be a wonderful ceremony to help in the long process of reuniting our country. So, you know, not everyone agrees with President-elect Joe Biden, and that is completely fine. But we certainly can agree that He is our leader and we should respect him. And Vice President-elect Kamala Harris.
I agree 100%, Mr. Franchella. Those two are two large helpers to our society, and we can be thankful for them every day. I am thankful for them every day.
Totally, I completely agree. You know, helpers are everywhere, my friends. Everything you see in the news, it's not going to be positive. But there are always people who are trying to make it better. Look for those people, my friends.
I agree, Mr. Franchella. Helpers are everywhere. That is something that I'm super thankful for. Anyway, this has been a Good Morning Elm. In our first episode, this is Mr. Franchella.
And this is Mr. Nicolo, and we are both reminding you to look for the helpers. You will always find people who are trying to help. All right, that's it for us. See you later.
Wait, I got one more, and don't forget to wash your hands.
Oh,
All right, we're set.
I'm gonna go do that right now. Okay.
All right, cool. With soap, 20 seconds. Happy birthday.
Go. Goodbye. Ah!
Hey guys, take care.
Bye.
Bye.